Smart enough to know that when it quits spinning, we're okay. All right, thank you, David, very much. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome. We will call to order the regular meeting of the Lawrence County Board of Commissioners. Today is Tuesday, September 17 of 2024, and we appreciate everybody being here today. A couple of housekeeping items. We are live streaming the meeting and we're recording the meeting. And we request that if you have a cell phone with you, if you could put it on vibrate or silent, we would appreciate your doing that. We always begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'd ask you to remain standing for a moment of silence. I'd like if you could keep the family of attorney Chris Mitzos in your thoughts and prayers. Mr. Mitzos passed away within the last week. For many years, he was the solicitor for the controller's office. When Bob Fote was the county controller, Mr. Mitzos was his solicitor. Chris was a good friend of mine and lived a good life. But anyhow, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. And Mr. Kennedy, could you lead us in the pledge? Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you please remain standing, we'll have a moment of silence. Thank you, everybody. Vanessa, could you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Sinata?
Here.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Here.
Commissioner Vogler?
Here. We have a quorum. At each meeting, both right at the beginning and then right before adjournment, we have opportunities for public comment. If anybody wishes to make a comment, they can do so both times. One of the two times, if they're just here to listen, that's equally fine. If you do wish to make any comments, we ask that they be related to county government matters. And if you could try to keep your time to about 5 minutes or so, we appreciate that thoughtfulness as well. Now, item 2 on the agenda is row officer reports and comments, and we're very honored to have our registrar and recorder, Tammy Crawford, with us. She's here on a matter that's on the agenda in a few moments, but when a row officer does join us, we always give them the opportunity to give any comments or remarks. So, Tammy, anything you'd like to share with us today?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we'll get to you. You're first on the new business, so we won't keep you long.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Moving on, under fiscal and contractual, we have in our packet 4 warrant registers, which are also known as check reconciliation registers. These are provided to us by the county controller's office, and they are a listing of all the checks that have been cut. And these are dated September 9, 10, 11, and 12. So Chris and Dan, gentlemen, take whatever time you need to look them over. And whenever you're ready, you can either, if you have any questions, or if you'd like to make a motion to accept these documents, we can do that.
I'll make a motion to accept the registered documents.
And I'll second that motion.
Gentlemen, I thank both of you. Are there any questions about the warrant registers? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and take a roll call, please, to accept.
Commissioner Sinata?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes?
Motion carries.
Thanks, Vanessa. Also in our packet, and by the way, all of these documents we'll share with you if you'd like to see any of them. We have the minutes of the September 10 Commissioners meeting. Once again, Dan and Chris, please take whatever time you need to look them over, and then whenever you're ready, we can take a motion to adopt the minutes.
I move we adopt the minutes.
I'll second.
Thank you both. Are there any questions or concerns? If not, we'll have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Under written communications, we did have one document come in since last week. It is from Newcastle Recycling, Inc., located at 215 Gardner Avenue in the city of Newcastle. They are notifying us that they have applied to the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection's Bureau of Air Quality Control for the renewal of a permit to continue to operate a dust collection system at their facility here in the city of Newcastle. And it is signed by, boy, I hope I say his last name right, Michael Coble or Coble. I'm not sure how he would pronounce it, so I hope I didn't make it too bad here. He's the president of Newcastle Recycling. I also want to note, and it came in too late for today's agenda, so we'll put this in next week. But it caught my eye, and I'd like to just briefly mention it, that the planning office on September 9 received correspondence from the Department of the Army out of New Jersey. And the subject matter is an intergovernmental and interagency and environmental planning consultation for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers environmental assessment for an area maintenance support activity / vehicle maintenance shop facility and training center. Now it says here in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, but more specifically, as you'll note, as we read further on, it'll be in they're proposing it for North Beaver Township. It says that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the Louisville District, in coordination with the United States Army Reserve 99th Readiness Division, is preparing an environmental assessment for the construction of an area maintenance support activity / vehicle maintenance shop facility and training center in North Beaver Township, Lawrence County, Pennsylvania. The proposed site for the construction of these facilities currently contains an agricultural field and wooded areas. In addition to the AMSA, which is Area Maintenance Support Activity Facility and Training Center, the site will accommodate an ancillary 11,000 square yard military equipment parking lot, a vehicle maintenance shop, and privately owned vehicle parking stalls. These projects will be completed in separate phases. Project 1 proposes the construction of the area maintenance support activity facility, the 11,000 square yard MEP lot, the vehicle maintenance shop, and 25 private parking stalls. The project also includes connections to Mohawk School Road and Mount Jackson Road, stormwater controls, lighting, electrical work, and other necessary infrastructure improvements. Project 2 proposes the construction of the training center. It will include a 40,000 square foot building and associated private lot for parking, stormwater controls, lighting, electrical work, and other necessary infrastructure improvements. The proposed facility will house 17 full-time personnel with an average of 20 civilian vehicles accessing the site per day, Monday through Friday. Future uses will include weekend drill training exercises by the Army Reserve, with an estimated maximum of 40 to 50 vehicles accessing the site. Additionally, the facility will receive at least one material or parts delivery daily and 2 to 3 equipment deliveries per month. Per Executive Order 12372, Intergovernmental Review of Federal Programs, we are sending this letter to you being the County Planning Commission, of this effort and to request your assistance in providing information that may assist us in our review and or in identifying any potential issues related to the proposed actions. And the proposed site is near the village of Mount Jackson in North Beaver Township. And part of the property borders State Route 108 and part of the property borders State Route 317 in that area. So we're pleased to hear about this. And the signature is Jacqueline Siciliano, Chief Environmental Division, 99th Readiness Division, U.S. Army Reserve. I'm not able to enter it into the record because it came after we did the agenda, but for next week's meeting, we can, I don't know if I just got it this morning. So, and I'm assuming that, did the other two gentlemen receive it as
They
well?
did.
Okay.
I just got the email this morning from Mary, so like you said, it was too late
Okay,
for
now-
today.
right, so.
And I made copies for all three.
Okay, so you should have it in your mailbox. So that takes care of written communications. The one that we would have to vote to accept would be the one from Newcastle Recycling. So may I have a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, gentlemen. Any comments or discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes?
motion carries.
Thank you. Reports, Commissioner reports and comments. Mr. Kennedy, you're first today.
I really don't have a whole lot. I know Chris was busy all weekend, but I had friends in that I haven't seen in years, and I was with them all weekend. So I really didn't go out running around a whole lot. Really don't have a whole lot to report. I'll leave it to you.
Thank you very much, Dan. I appreciate that. And Chris?
Thank you. Yeah, it was, for me, I actually had a very busy weekend. A lot of activity back in this county and stuff. Nothing out. I do want to commend Mr. Gooch and his wife out at Pulaski Township. They had their annual Pulaski Fall Festival. I think it's their fifth one. And it grows a little bit each year, and I had an opportunity to go out there for a little bit. I've done that every year, and they had some cool cars, and they took over the old school out there. And that's why I commend them, because if you don't take on the school and do something quickly with it, it deteriorates, and then it becomes abandoned. And, so I give them credit for that, and it's being promoted out in the Pulaski area near you, Commissioner Kennedy. So I'm sure you're happy about that, the progress being made.
They've done a really nice job
Yeah.
on it.
So I think that, that's important. So I actually did that. I stopped out in Shannon. They were having their community day, and had some opportunity to see the Rapid Tappets with their cars. They always have their picnic the same day as community day, and Bob and John, the entertainers, performed, and stayed there a little bit. And then I went to the Italian festival up at Venice Winery. And this is their 5th annual, so I had a chance to be there, and there's people out and about in the community. That's so important. And being on a tourism promotion board to see these activities in the community is good, because you're drawing people from out of town. That's what we want in Lawrence County, people to come here, spend money. And I actually talked to a couple of people at that Italian festival, and they were here from Butler County. That was the first time they were here in Lawrence County. They didn't know it was there. But I guess they saw it on one of those brochures that our TPA puts out. So people do look at that stuff when they get that stuff out. So that's a positive thing. Then I ended my night at the cathedral for the Lawrence County Humane Society's big fur ball. This is the first time I had an opportunity to go. I believe it's their 2nd annual, and the place was filled with people. So it was great. I know we as a county supported that event, and to see so many of the businesses and individuals come out to support the homeless animals, I think that was such an important event. I give Dr. Paul Warzinski and his wife Leanne a lot of credit. They were spearheading that event, and people showed up. So I think that's so very important. And that was my big event on Saturday, and I just think that those were all positive community events, and we got another full tilt coming up this coming weekend. Just a lot of activity. I think it is important, and I don't want to leave out Friday. I had an opportunity to go for the ribbon cutting at the library. After a long time, their elevator was now fixed. Their 2nd floor is done. I know the county made a nice investment in that. I think it was money well spent because I didn't realize there must have been about 100 kids there. And how many of those kids are utilizing the library? So many services that they provide there. I don't think a lot of people realize, you know, the type of services and the history of that. And they had a little reception in the evening. And once again, you have a lot of community leaders, people who volunteer their services to our community that were at that event. And last, one of the backwards, they opened a new restaurant out in Shannick on Thursday, Gordo's, and for a soft opening, that place was filled with people. So I wish them the best. I think that, you know, anytime a new business opens and people patronize it, that's a good thing. Throw out there just to conclude and continue to patronize the businesses that have been here for a long time. So that was my weekend. So.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. I want to thank both of you. I had to go to Harrisburg part of last week. I serve as chair of the County Commissioners Association's Workers' Compensation Trust Fund Board. We had a meeting, but you gentlemen both went to the Planning Commission meeting down in New Beaver Borough, so thank you for doing that. And as we noted last week, last Tuesday night, we had two events going on at the same time, so we kind of divided it. Commissioner Sanada and Commissioner Kennedy went to the Cray Youth and Family Services anniversary dinner, and I represented us at the Beaver Lawrence Farm Bureau dinner down in Beaver County. And then on Thursday of this coming Thursday, we've been invited, and I believe we're going to be attending the Newcastle Area Transit Authority's new bus garage ribbon cutting ceremony. So we're looking forward to that. That's at 11 o'clock on Thursday. So a lot going on. The only other thing I'll mention, and it's probably listed, yes, it is listed, but I'll mention it now. Tomorrow at 11 a.m., this would be the 18th of September, we will be meeting as the Board of Elections. And, the legal ad has been placed. The only thing we'll be voting on is a resolution or a proclamation to congratulate and commend Mrs. Colucci, who has been, Mrs. Annette Colucci, who has been a poll worker for many years at one of the polling places in the Shannick Township. So that meeting is open to the public tomorrow. That's all I have. Once again, unless there's anything else you gentlemen have thought of. If not, we can go ahead and move to new business. And the first item does involve the Register and Recorder's Office. So Mrs. Crawford, if you wouldn't mind coming up. And Vanessa, what number do we give this?
73.
273. And I believe this is a contract extension or contract renewal with the company with whom your office does business. So could you give us some of the background, please, Tammy?
Sure. I'm requesting for an extension on a contract that was signed May 2nd, 2023. It's for PDFA services provided by my current vendor, who is GovOS. I'm just requesting that the extension be signed. It will give the contract an expiration date of May 26, 2026. And that way it will run concurrently with another contract with GovOS, and that will help for budgeting and, when we renew and everything, to negotiate everything together.
What service do they provide to your office?
They provide for a number of services. For our PDFA, which is, it happens weekly, and it's like a backup of our records, and it happens weekly, and it has to be stored in 3 secure locations. So we have it on our server and then 2 other separate locations. And then they also provide all of our software, our maintenance agreements, all of that for the software that's currently in place.
I'm assuming that you've been satisfied with the services they've offered and the working relationship you have with them.
Oh,
Well, that's good to know. Let me see if Commissioner Sanada has any questions.
No, I think very thorough, Tammy, and we appreciate all your efforts at your office.
Thank you.
Mr. Kennedy?
No, I don't know. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. Well, that being said, the proposal is in front of us as proposed resolution 273. May I have a motion for its adoption?
I move we accept the resolution.
I'll second that.
Thank you, gentlemen. Any other questions or concerns? And if not, we can take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes,
motion carries.
thank you. Tammy, we know you're busy, so you probably have to leave, but you're welcome to stay, but if you have to head back up, we understand.
I do. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Tammy.
Tammy.
Have a real good day.
You too.
Next on our agenda, we have 3 proposed resolutions from the Children and Youth Services Office, and Mike Grippo is with us. And Mike, it's always a pleasure. Gentlemen, would you mind if Mike walks us through all 3? And we can stop at each one for questions, but maybe at the end, if we can take one motion for all 3, if that's agreeable. Okay, thank you. Mike, would you start with number 274, Community Options, Inc., out of
Well,
New Jersey, but it looks like they have a Pittsburgh location.
yeah, I put
Okay.
that in there.
Yeah,
That's where their corporate office is. It's a renewal, it's a group home. Down on the bottom here, we actually only had in 23-24 one-child place. We currently don't have any place. The rates didn't increase at all, so they stayed the same. We use them as a backup, last resort in case something comes up.
okay, thank you for that one. Dan, any questions?
None.
No, Chris?
No.
Okay, thank you. Number 275 is Community Specialists Corporation, also known as the Academy, and they're based in Allegheny County.
Yes, this is a renewal. This is split between us and JPO. Again, this community specialist in 22-23, we had one child there. In 23-24, JPO had one, but currently we don't have any children there. And their rates were around 6% increase on their rates. But it is a split contract between us and JPO.
Thank you, Mike. Mr. Sonata, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, Mr. Kennedy?
None.
All righty, thank you. Number 276 is the Bear Foundation located in New Wilmington Borough, Lawrence County.
Yeah, last but not least, that's the reason I put many, that's our largest foster care. We probably have over 100 kids placed in their facility. So that's why I didn't have Melissa put a head count because there was just so many of them. But yeah, she said probably over 100. Their rates, roughly, some of them are 0%, some are 8%, some are 2%. It all depends on where the child's placed. But this is our largest foster care.
Thank you, Mike. I'll see if Dan has any questions.
No, I'm just glad to see we got somebody in Orange County we're dealing with. And how many of the people in foster parents live here in Orange County? That's good to know.
Yeah,
We have a partnership with them. I know they're up in my neck of the woods.
Yeah.
And I always thought for some reason they were in Mercer County.
Yeah,
They're right on the border.
yeah. I kind of like, I searched their address to see if they fell on Mercer or Lawrence.
They're right in Orange County.
Yeah,
We're glad of that. Thank you, Dan. Chris?
Everything sounds good.
Okay, thank you. Well, gentlemen, you've heard the report from Mr. Grippo relative to resolutions 274, 275, and 276 inclusive. Would one of you wish to make a motion to cover giving approval to all 3?
I'll make that one.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you both, gentlemen. If there are no other questions, we can have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes,
motion carries.
thank you. Mike, thank you so much.
oh, you're welcome.
Hope you have a great day.
Probably see me next week.
All right. Always.
You're done for the year.
That's 6 more.
Leslie,
What's
tell
that?
Mike it's always good to see you. Thanks, Mike.
Next on our agenda, number 277 comes from the Public Safety Department, and we're very pleased to have Chad Strobel with us. And Chad, thank you for taking the time to come down. Why don't I let you describe what this proposed resolution does?
This will be a resolution to renew our contract with QEMS. QEMS is our quality assurance software provider, part of the 911 program through the Commonwealth states that we have to have a quality assurance program. This system makes it nice. It pulls data from our computer-aided dispatch system automatically. We set parameters within the system that says if a call for some reason extends, the time from when it was dispatched to when the unit goes en route, it pulls it for us to look at. If it's a certain type of call, what would be considered a major incident or a high priority medical call, it automatically pulls it for us to look at it and prompts our supervisors to take a look at that incident. We also use it to track all of our assets within the Department of Public Safety, our vehicles, down to individual dosimeters for a radiation program. It tracks everything. We can do maintenance through that. And it has our contact list in there for all of our different groups, amateur radio, EOC personnel, everything. So it's a kind of all-in-one suite that gives us the ability to fulfill our requirements in the Commonwealth with quality assurance and also track our assets and costs incurred for maintenance and everything. So we'd like to extend that for another year. Again, this will be a renewal. We were with them for quite a while. I severed that agreement a couple of years ago because of pricing, but we renegotiated with them to a much better deal and got them back to continue. So.
Well, that background information is most helpful. And I'll tell you, I appreciate the fact I'm reading the resolution and this, assuming we approve it, the contract would actually, and you noted it's a renewal, but this agreement would be effective January 1 of 2025. So we appreciate you coming in as early as you have. And then the language also states that the cost would not exceed, I hope I'm reading this correctly, not to exceed $25,000.
But that is correct.
Okay.
Yes. And that is eligible as part of our 83% funding through the 911 program. So
It's even better.
look towards that.
Thank you, Chad. I'll see if Commissioner Sanada has any questions.
No.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Mr. Kennedy?
None, just thank you, Chad.
Okay.
The department do a great job.
Well, gentlemen, you've heard Mr. Strobel's report. This is proposed resolution 277. Would one of you care to make a motion for its approval?
I move we approve the resolutions.
I'll second.
Thank you, gentlemen. If there are no other concerns or discussion, we can take a roll call vote.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes,
motion carries.
thank you. Well, it's good to see you, Chad, and
See you as well.
you're welcome to stick around, but we know you're busy, so if you have to head back, we understand.
Yeah, we're heading to a conference tomorrow, so I'm gonna go get everything wrapped up and ready to go. So.
Safe travels.
All right, thank you.
Thanks very much,
You
Chad.
guys have a great day.
You too, Chad. Thanks. Gentlemen, one of our roles as commissioners is to appoint individuals to serve on the Lawrence County Federated Library Board, which oversees and works with the three established libraries that we have in our county, the one here in the city of Newcastle, the one in the borough of Elwood City, and the one in North Beaver Township, just outside of Bessemer. So we've had submitted to us reappointments of three individuals. And I was hoping if I could read them into the record, then would you be willing to do one motion for all three? Okay, thank you. Number 278 would be the reappointment of Mrs. Judith Kindle of Wayne Township. She actually would be representing the Elwood City Public Library, and this would be would take effect now and run through the end of June 2027. I just happened to see Mrs. Kindle last week at a function, and she certainly does a lot in the community and certainly well qualified to serve in this capacity. Number 279 would be the reappointment of Mr. Thomas Mansell of Neshannock Township, and he would be representing the Newcastle Public Library, and his term would be comparable to that of Mrs. Kindle's. And then number 280 would be the reappointment of Ms. Claire Baldwin. She resides in North Beaver Township, and she would be representing the F.D. Campbell Memorial Library, which is also based in North Beaver Township, and her term would be comparable to that of Mr. Mansell's and Mrs. Kindle's. Mr. Kennedy, any concerns?
None.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Sonata?
No, I think they're all very qualified candidates. They've served on the board, and we're happy that they are going to take another term.
Thank you so much. Well, that being said, would one of you care to make a motion to approve resolutions 278, 279, and 280?
I'll make that.
And I'll second that.
Thank you both. And if there are no other concerns, we can take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And Vanessa, I assume you'll be able to notify Mr. Henley that these
Yes.
folks have been reappointed. Thank you for
You're
doing
welcome.
that. We have a proposed resolution number 281. This would involve an administrative transfer. The request falls under the commissioner's jurisdiction. We're asking that $4,800 be taken from the commissioner's contingency line item into that of land, building, and rental. Joe, would this be for the underground storage, mine
Yes.
storage? Okay, thank you. Let me see if Mr. Kennedy has any questions.
Joe, do you know if that pan of mines for storage down there, does that come down quite a bit?
It will come down in the future. Right now, every time we remove a box or even stuff to get out to destroy it because it's time limited out, it's timed out. Basically, we're still getting charged for it right now, but we expect it to go down drastically in the near future.
Okay, good. We're starting to get stuff out of there.
Yes.
Some way. That's good.
Anything else, Dan?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Chris?
No.
And incidentally, the mine that we're referring to is the Wampum Mines, the underground storage facility in Wampum, right off the State Route 18. Joe, anything else we need to know?
No, sir.
Okay, this is Resolution 281. Would one of my colleagues care to make a motion?
I move we accept the resolution.
I'll second.
Thank you both, gentlemen. And if there are no other questions, we'll do a roll call.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. The next resolution, it's an administrative transfer. This will be Resolution 282, and this involves the Public Defender's Office. They are requesting a transfer of $1,518 from their line item of contracted services. And they're asking that that be transferred into the minor equipment line item under their budget. Chris, any questions? No? Dan?
No question.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Anything else?
No,
on this one? Okay, could I have a motion, please?
I'll make that.
I'll second.
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. We have some other transfers to consider. I'll start through these. Stop me if you have a question, please. The Prothonotari's office is asking for a transfer of $20,000 from the records management line item contingency into that of materials and supplies. That's to allow them to transfer to records management for the scanning folders. That's our first request. The second request is from Children and Youth Services. They are asking for a transfer of $6,000 from their line item of contracted provider care into that of their electric line item. The jail is requesting from their contingency $9,600 into travel and training, and then $50 into land and building line item. The tax claim office is asking for the following from their contingency account They're asking $675 be placed in maintenance and repairs. Also from their contingency account, $1,365 into that of postage. And then from contracted consulting, they would like to take $7,000 and also place that into postage. You might recall that when the 2024 budget was formulated, we were not expecting the price increase that occurred mid-year for postage. So we're at the mercy of the
Joe didn't know what the federal government was doing.
Government's a tough cookie.
Yeah. The total of this transfer request is $9,040. Domestic Relations would like to do the following. This all comes out of their HRA benefit line item. They'd like to take $3,000 and place it into land and building rental line item, $2,050 into their electric line item, and $320 into their water and sewage line item. And then the last request comes from the Public Defender's Office. They would like to take $87 from their contingency line item into that of their subscription line item. Dan, do you have any concerns about any of these requests? Thank you, Dan. Chris?
No, very straightforward.
Thank you. Would one of you care to make a motion to approve these requests?
I move we approve these requests.
I'll second.
Thank you, gentlemen. Could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes?
motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa.
You're welcome.
Couple of announcements. This board will meet in public a week from today, September 24 at 10 a.m. in this room. And again, that's a public meeting. I'll note that the prison board meeting that normally would be taking place tomorrow has been canceled. So there will not be a prison board meeting. And as we noted a little bit earlier today, tomorrow at 11 a.m., September 18, there will be a special election board meeting in this room. And the purpose of the meeting is to approve a resolution or a citation recognizing the many years of service by Mrs. Annette Colucci of Neshannock Township. It's also open to the public. Speaking of the public, under public comments, the room right now is empty, so we do not have any public in the room for that purpose. Let me see if Commissioner Kennedy has any closing concerns or remarks. Thank you, sir. And Mr. Sanada? No. All righty, thank you. And we always ask Vanessa and Joe, anything we've forgotten, overlooked? Okay, thank you. Well, appreciate everybody joining us today, gentlemen and lady. And there being no other business to be brought before the board, may I please have an adjournment motion?
I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. The motion carries. This meeting's adjourned. Thank you all. And are you going down at 11:30?
Yeah.
I'll do likewise. And then we have Mr. Ross at 1 o'clock. Yeah. I had, I think it